Our life is determined by our standards. Life responds to the measure we set for ourselves. High standards, no excuses, relentless effort. Meet life with discipline, focus, and clarity, and it will reward you with success, health, and happiness beyond measure. Look at those who work tirelessly, men and women who refuse to settle. They set high standards for themselves, remain disciplined, and stay determined. Their lives, over time, reflect the quality of the effort and standards they uphold. But mistreat yourself, lower your expectations, and life will give you exactly what you demand: mediocrity, frustration, and despair. Standards are not wishes, they are not hopes, they are not promises made for tomorrow. Standards are decisions, decisions you live with today. They show up in the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening. They appear in what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you walk past without correcting. They reveal themselves in the smallest choices, long before the results appear. Life does not argue with your standards. It does not negotiate. It simply complies. If you expect little, life delivers little. If you demand precision, effort, and integrity from yourself, life adjusts accordingly. This is not a theory. It is not philosophy. It is observation. Every outcome, your work, your relationships, your health, your sense of fulfillment, can be traced back to one invisible source: the standard you quietly agreed to live by. No one rises above the standards they keep. No one consistently outperforms what they are willing to accept. And no one accidentally lives a disciplined, meaningful life. Standards are chosen, and once chosen, they shape behavior. They determine whether you follow through or excuse yourself, whether you refine your craft or leave it unfinished, whether you correct a weakness or learn to live with it. You may not feel your standards at work in a single day, but over months, over years, they leave unmistakable evidence. The life you see around you today is not a surprise. It is the result of standards repeated, honored, or ignored. This message is not about pressure. It is not about harshness. It is about self-respect. How standards determine your results in every area of life. Standards are invisible rulers. They are not written down. They are not announced. Yet they shape everything you do, everything you become, and everything life hands you in return. Consider the person who quietly insists on excellence in their work, who refuses to allow sloppy shortcuts, who sees a task unfinished and returns until it is complete. What happens over time? The quality of their work improves. Opportunities begin to appear. Others notice their reliability, their integrity, their refusal to accept mediocrity, and life responds accordingly. Now consider the opposite, the person who says it's good enough, who tolerates mistakes, who cuts corners because effort feels inconvenient. Their results may appear adequate at first, but gradually, standards, or the lack of them, show themselves in the consequences. Opportunities dry up, respect is withheld, progress stagnates. The principle is simple. Your results are never better than the standards you live by. If you expect little, you achieve little. If you demand precision, integrity, and perseverance from yourself, life adjusts to meet the measure you have set. Standards affect more than work. They touch relationships, health, character, and thought. Do you tolerate excuses from yourself in your personal life? Do you accept mediocrity in your habits, your choices, your conduct? Then life responds in kind. Your relationships may lack depth. Your health may falter. Your satisfaction may remain elusive. But when you raise your standards, something remarkable occurs. You begin to see decisions through a new lens. Every choice is measured against the level of excellence you will accept. A minor inconvenience becomes a small test. A challenge becomes an opportunity to uphold your standards. And with each decision, your life moves closer to the quality you demand from it. High standards are not always visible to others. They do not require applause or recognition. They are lived quietly, consistently, in the smallest acts of self-discipline. Yet the cumulative effect is undeniable. Over time, standards become reputation, standards become character, standards become results. If you want better results in life, more success, better relationships, higher health, a stronger sense of fulfillment, you do not need luck. You do not need extraordinary talent. You need standards that refuse compromise. You need a measure of excellence that will guide every action, every thought, every choice. They are fully within your control. No one can impose them on you. No one can prevent you from setting them higher. You can decide at any moment to raise the bar for what you will accept in work, in relationships, in yourself. When you do, life responds. Results begin to change. The people, the circumstances, and the opportunities that once seemed distant start aligning with the level of effort and excellence you now demand. Your results in every area of life are a mirror of your standards. Raise your standards, and the reflection begins to transform. Lower them, and you will see the inevitable cost. This is the silent, powerful law that governs achievement. What you accept defines what life delivers, and what you refuse to accept sets the limits of your future. Why discipline, focus, and consistency amplify your success. Standards alone are not enough. They set the expectation, the measure, but without action, they remain invisible. This is where discipline enters. Discipline is the bridge between intention and result. It is the quiet refusal to yield to distraction, to delay, to temptation. It is the ability to do what must be done, even when energy is low, when excitement fades, or when others are not watching. Discipline does not seek applause. It does not demand recognition. It simply ensures that the commitments you make to yourself are honored day after day, without compromise. This is the engine that turns standards into results. Focus is the companion of discipline. It is the act of directing your attention to the task that matters most. It resists the lure of the trivial and the urgent, refusing to allow the noise of life to dilute your effort. When focus is applied to high standards, it concentrates power where it will create the greatest effect. Without focus, even disciplined effort can scatter, leaving results smaller than the energy invested. Consistency is the final, indispensable piece. A single day of discipline may produce a result. A single day of focus may solve a problem. But the accumulation of days, months, and years, applied without fail, is what creates mastery, achievement, and enduring success. Think about the difference between someone who works with bursts of energy and someone who works steadily, guided by clear standards. The bursts may look impressive, loud, and urgent. The steady worker may seem ordinary, yet over time the results are unmistakable. Consistency compounds. It transforms modest effort into extraordinary outcomes. Discipline, focus, and consistency do not create a life of struggle. They do not demand constant strain. Instead, they channel energy, clarify decisions, and enforce standards. They ensure that high expectations are met, not by luck, but by deliberate, repeated action. Without discipline, standards remain aspirations. Without focus, effort becomes scattered. Without consistency, even the highest standards erode over time. Together, however, they amplify success. They create momentum that feels almost unstoppable. They build a reputation of reliability and excellence. They attract opportunity, respect, and results naturally. And perhaps most importantly, they shape character. A person who cultivates discipline, focus, and consistency is no longer ruled by impulses, moods, or fleeting desires. They act according to principle, guided by their own high standards. And in that self-mastery, life begins to reward them in ways that fleeting motivation never could. So if you desire more than average results, if you want your efforts to yield not just activity but achievement, you must do more than set standards. You must live them every day, every choice, every step. Discipline ensures it happens. Focus ensures it matters. Consistency ensures it endures. And in that union of intention and action, success no longer depends on chance. It depends on you. The consequences of lowering your expectations or tolerating mediocrity. Life has a simple way of responding to what we accept. It simply gives back what we allow. When you lower your expectations, when you tell yourself that good enough is enough, you set a limit on what life will deliver. It may feel comfortable at first. It may seem easier to avoid the struggle, to accept shortcuts, to excuse mistakes, but over time, the cost becomes undeniable. Tolerating mediocrity begins quietly, a task completed half-heartedly, a promise broken to yourself, a standard ignored because it feels inconvenient. These small compromises accumulate like a slow leak in a dam. Eventually, they shape your results, your reputation, and even your self-respect. Lowered expectations affect every area of life. In work, it shows as inconsistency, missed opportunities, and outcomes far below your potential. In relationships, it manifests as complacency, miscommunication, and a lack of genuine connection. In health, it appears in neglected habits, wasted energy, and unfulfilled potential. It does not punish you for lowering standards. It simply complies. If you accept mediocrity, mediocrity is exactly what you will receive. If you demand only a fraction of your capability, then that fraction is what life will deliver back to you. Contrast that with the person who refuses to accept anything less than their best. Every action, every choice, every effort is measured against a higher standard. Challenges are met with preparation, discipline, and intention. Mistakes are corrected, not tolerated. And over time, this dedication transforms opportunity into achievement, potential into reality. The consequences of lowering standards are subtle at first. They appear in frustration, missed goals, and lingering regret. They grow into patterns of compromise, diminished self-respect, and a sense that life is passing by. And once these patterns take hold, breaking free becomes far more difficult than it would have been to maintain high standards from the start. This is why self-discipline is not merely about doing what is hard. It is about refusing to accept less than what you know you are capable of. It is about holding yourself to a measure of excellence that is non-negotiable. Every compromise erodes your foundation. Every lowered expectation chips away at your potential. And every moment you tolerate mediocrity teaches your mind that it is acceptable to settle, even when you are capable of far more. On the other hand, raising standards, even when it is difficult, has an immediate effect on confidence, performance, and direction. It creates momentum that pulls you forward rather than letting you drift. It transforms effort into accomplishment, and over time, it separates those who achieve greatness from those who merely exist. The lesson is clear. What you accept today becomes the reality of tomorrow. The life you lead is not the result of chance, luck, or circumstance. It is the inevitable product of the standards you uphold or fail to uphold each day. To live fully, to achieve deeply, you cannot tolerate mediocrity. You cannot settle for comfort. You cannot lower the bar you have set for yourself. Because in the end, life does not give more than what you demand of yourself. Real-life examples of people who achieved greatness through high standards. Consider Thomas Edison, the man who illuminated the world. He did not succeed by luck. He did not wait for inspiration to strike. He set exacting standards for his experiments and refused to settle for failure. When one approach failed, he tried another, over and over, until the results met the measure he demanded. His persistence was guided by an internal standard of excellence that would not compromise, and the light he brought to the world reflects the unwavering standards he lived by. Or consider Florence Nightingale, a woman whose work redefined nursing. She observed the conditions of hospitals with uncompromising scrutiny. She refused to accept anything less than cleanliness, proper care, and accountability. Her standards were so high that they became a blueprint for reform, saving countless lives and elevating an entire profession. Alexander Graham Bell, the inventor of the telephone, offers another lesson. He dedicated himself to understanding sound, speech, and communication with precision. He did not settle for partial answers or incomplete designs. His high standard for accuracy and functionality pushed him to discover solutions that others might have deemed impossible. Even in literature, the standard of excellence defines impact. Consider Herman Melville, who labored over every word, every sentence in Moby Dick, refusing to compromise clarity, depth, and meaning, even when immediate recognition was absent. The result was not just a novel, but a masterpiece that has endured for generations. What connects all these lives is not talent alone. It is not circumstance or opportunity. It is the uncompromising standard each set for themselves. Each refused mediocrity. Each measured their work against a level of excellence that demanded discipline, consistency, and focus. They did not seek recognition first. They sought to meet the standards they believed were right. Recognition, results, and influence followed naturally, not as a goal, but as a consequence of living according to a higher measure. Even in their failures, the same lesson applies. Edison endured thousands of failed experiments. Melville faced rejection and obscurity. Nightingale encountered resistance at every turn, yet they never allowed their standards to slip. They refused to settle for what was convenient, easy, or ordinary. This demonstrates a truth that remains timeless. High standards act as an internal compass. They guide action, sustain effort, and demand improvement. They ensure that no matter the obstacle, the work produced aligns with a measure of excellence that cannot be compromised. And the results, success, impact, influence, are not gifts. They are reflections. Reflections of the standards these individuals held for themselves long before the world recognized them. So, if you wish to achieve greatness, you must first ask yourself, what standard am I setting for myself today? What level of excellence will I accept? Because the lives that inspire us, the achievements we admire, are all the product of relentless, uncompromising standards. How to raise your personal and professional standards. Starting today. Raising your standards is not about sudden dramatic change. It is not about forcing yourself to become someone you are not. It begins with a single deliberate decision, to refuse what is inadequate and demand what is excellent from yourself. Start with awareness. Observe where you have allowed yourself to settle. Notice the corners you cut, the habits you tolerate, the compromises you accept. These are the areas where your standards have been too low. Mark them clearly, without judgment. Understanding where you are is the first step toward where you want to be. Next, define what high standard looks like in each area of life. Be precise. Do not settle for vague notions like better or more. Decide, what level of effort will I accept in my work? What quality of relationships will I uphold? What discipline will I apply to my health and habits? What integrity will I refuse to compromise? Then, commit to action. Standards are not ideals that sit on a shelf. They are living, active measures that guide behavior. Every day presents opportunities to enforce them. A task completed thoroughly, a promise kept to yourself, a choice made with integrity. Discipline, focus, and consistency will carry these standards from concept into reality. Do not aim for perfection at first. Standards are not about flawless execution. They are about refusal to accept mediocrity. They are about continuously raising the bar step by step, choice by choice. Every small improvement compounds. Every day of honoring your standards strengthens it. Seek accountability, not for show, but for reinforcement. Surround yourself with those who respect effort, demand quality, and uphold principles. The standards of those around you influence the standards you maintain. By aligning with excellence, you reinforce your own commitment and stretch your limits further. Expect resistance. The mind resists change, comfort fights discipline, and the world may not immediately reward your higher standards. Do it anyway. The reward is not instant, it is cumulative, growing quietly until the reflection of your effort becomes undeniable. Raising standards is a form of self-respect. It communicates to yourself that you are capable, worthy, and deserving of excellence. It is not arrogance. It is an acknowledgement that your life is worth the effort it takes to reach its full potential. Finally, measure your progress. Reflect daily, weekly, monthly. Did I meet the standard I set for myself today? If yes, continue and build. If no, adjust, recommit, and act again. Standards are living. They grow as you grow, and they stretch your potential in ways comfort never can. The moment you begin to raise your personal and professional standards, you take control of your results. You set the level of success, achievement, and fulfillment that life will deliver. You no longer wait for chance, for luck, or for inspiration. You decide what is acceptable. You decide what excellence looks like. And in that decision lies power. Power to shape your life, your work, your relationships, and your future. Power to demand more from yourself than the world will demand. Power to become the person who does not settle, who does not compromise, and who achieves not because of circumstance, but because of the unwavering standard you have chosen to uphold. So remember this: your life is a reflection of the standards you keep. Nothing more, nothing less. If you accept mediocrity, life will give you mediocrity. If you tolerate excuses, you will see only frustration. If you lower your expectations, you will receive exactly what you demand, nothing beyond. But if you raise your standards, today, this moment, if you demand excellence in every choice, every action, every thought, life responds. Results, opportunity, and respect follow naturally, not as a gift, but as a consequence of the measure you hold for yourself. High standards are not a burden, they are power. They transform effort into achievement, discipline into momentum, and consistency into lasting success. Decide now. What will you accept? What will you refuse? What standard will define your life from this day forward? Because the person who refuses to settle and chooses excellence in every action does not merely live, they achieve greatness. Standards determine your success. Choose yours wisely.